Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. Now, we are looking at the word ethics in business and etiquette in business. Question is, what is the meaning of ethics in business, for starters?
When you're talking about ethics in business, you're talking about the moral principles that guide how things are done in that particular organization. It can be for a group of people, like when we're talking about medical ethics. It can be for lawyers, it can be for students, it can be for bankers. So we're just talking about principles that help people to know what is right and what is wrong, so that you have standardization and you have harmony in the workplace.
And etiquettes, what is the meaning of etiquettes in business? What's the difference?
Now, etiquette, on the other hand, is the acceptable way to behave, especially in public. I have used two adjectives. I said acceptable, meaning that not anything goes. You need to know what is acceptable, what is appropriate at a particular time. And then I also said in public. In public, meaning once you have an audience, once you have people, you are not the only one there, then you need to be considerate of the people that are around you.
Now, just because I am an operator in Alaba international market, for example, do I still need the etiquette thing as a businessman?
Does the Alaba operator work with human beings? If he does, he definitely needs it, because he needs customers, and he needs his customers to feel good so that they keep coming back, and he's assured of repeat business, which leads to business continuity. Now, the fact that he's an Alaba operator does not cut him out of knowing what is appropriate, especially in business. You're carrying out a business. There are some rules that guide business transactions. You want your customers to be happy, you want them to be satisfied, and you want them to come back. If in your business these three things are important, then you need to understand the rudiments of business ethics as well as etiquette.
Now, in other words, there are various types of etiquettes. So can you just take us through at least three basic ones that we should know as business owners?
Now, talking about communication, business communication is either oral or is written. Now, the written communication has its rules, has its etiquette, guidelines also, as well as speaking. Now, there's something in POIS that there's a course we take in POIS called Courtesy Language and Polite Expressions, just typical how to talk to people. And in that course, we teach people positive and negative sentences. There is a way you can ask a question, you get a slap, and there's a way you can ask the same question and you get the required answer. Now, knowing the difference is what differentiates you, what shows that you're refined. That you can talk to someone and get the person to readily do what you want them to do, and they're even happy doing it. And you can also talk to someone, the person may not decline your offer, but the person does it grudgingly. Now, the difference is in the way you have communicated, the use of polite expression. Incidentally, in Nigeria now, please has become so rare. Thank you is going into extinction. And these are regular everyday words that get people to do what they have to do happily. So when we talk about etiquette in communication, it's how you can apply these expressions, modal auxiliaries to your speech, so people feel good when they're relating with you. You said I should look at three areas. Let me look at a very key one, which, whether we like it or not, is a force to be reckoned with in business, and that is the telephone usage. Now, in the modern day business community, people will call you first before they come to your office, if at all they even get to come to your office. But you would have done a lot of transaction on the telephone before you even get to meet one-on-one. It's very important that you understand how to keep your customers even on the telephone. Typical things like how to greet. You pick up your phone, you say, "Who is this?" And this is, you are someone that needs customers. You can put off that person even before you engage the person in any kind of business. So understanding how to greet, how to manage difficult people on the phone, knowing that the person at the other end of the line relies only on your voice. They can't see your face, so they can't see your expressions. They rely typically only on your voice, and you need to have what we call the upbeat telephone voice, so that the person knows that you are happy to receive their calls. You call some people, and it's as if you're disturbing them. From the way they answer, the tone, and then they answer you in monosyllables, it's as if you have bothered them. Maybe you took them out of their beauty sleep. But in business, if you're waiting for customers and you know that your customer is important to you, each time your telephone rings, you smile, and that smile is communicated through your voice. So let me take you through, because this is on the telephone.
No, please go on.
Okay. So you smile on the phone. We always teach that you smile on the phone, because you cannot smile and frown at the same time. Smiling helps you to dispel of, peradventure, before the call came in, you were already angry. Maybe you just had a quarrel with your boss. Once you smile, it wraps itself around the tone of your voice, and you are able to communicate your message devoid of your initial emotions. Okay, understanding also that no matter how angry your customer is or how difficult your customer is, most of the time they are not directing their anger at you. It's just because you are the person that has picked the phone on behalf of your organization. So you need to learn not to take your emotions with you to work, especially when you're talking on the telephone, so that you are able to objectively handle situations. Let me talk on another aspect of etiquette, which is very important, which is your appearance and personal grooming. Now, this is also something you have to really pay attention to if you're in the business where you have to keep dealing with people. Your appearance speaks volumes about you. And as human beings, whether we like it or not, we use almost 100, in fact, about 93% of the impression we form of people is just based on what we see and what we hear, without even getting to know people for who they are. I've had people argue and tell me it's not fair, but the truth is, it is not fair. That is how we have been created. You can't help it as a human being. You react a lot to what you see. You make a lot of decisions based on what you see. So when we teach, we tell people, maximize the impact that your appearance is going to make. At least let it open doors for you. And there's one thing I like saying, that you should try as much as possible to leave the door open, so that when opportunity comes, you don't have to stand outside knocking and looking for keys. Let the door be open. So when opportunity comes, it walks right in. Your appearance matters. And what dictates your appearance is not in business especially, is not necessarily how you feel. The people you are there to serve, your customers, what makes them comfortable? What kind of appearance would a typical customer expect of me? Now, I work in the education sector, and I'm supposed to be a role model. I'm supposed to set standards. I can't afford to wear certain things to work, no matter how much I feel like, no matter whether it's something I agree with or not, by virtue of the kind of customers that I work with on daily basis. They expect a certain standard from me, and if I, as a result of my own personal desire, start going against their mental or their value system, then we will always have friction, and they find it difficult to relate with me. So appearance is very important. You know the kind of customers you serve, and you know what makes them comfortable, so that you can appeal to them. Also, your personal grooming is also something that is very important. I remember a particular incident where an organization asked us that they wanted us to recruit some executives for them, and they particularly requested for second-class upper graduates or first-class graduates. And I remember that then we found it a little bit difficult to get graduates with such class of degrees. They were so scarce. We got quite a number of second class lower and all that. And we thought to ourselves, okay, you know what, why don't we just recruit second class lower, you know, and just recruit the good ones and convince the organization that it doesn't have to be first class or second class upper. So we decided to settle for that. But we got a particular CV of only one guy that had a 2-1, and we were happy that at least we have one 2-1, and then we support that one person with, you know, the other classes of degree. And I remember when this guy, you know, when we knew it was his turn, we were all happy because this is the one guy, one candidate that we had that we could give the organization. And the guy walked in, and walked in with him this pungent body odor. My goodness, we just couldn't, I mean, you know, it's the kind of odor that you can't do anything about. You just have to recognize the odor. And we tried to be civil, to ask him the normal questions, but we couldn't take him through all the series of questions before we said, okay, thank you very much, we'll get back to you, you know. And of course, we didn't get back to him. With his class of degree and his body odor, there was just no way we could send such a person from boys. Now, look at how such an insignificant thing as just common hygiene messed up the chances he had. And unfortunately, when it comes to things like personal grooming, people don't tell you what you're doing wrong. People would rather gossip behind you, or, you know, use it as what helps them to derive, you know, their daily dose of humor, but they will never call you and tell you the reason you're having issues is because you have this horrible mouth odor, or because you have this negative habit. So it's also something that we draw people to, we draw people's attention to some habits that can, you know, destroy the image that might have taken them years and a lot of effort to build.